Good afternoon, and I'm going to be presenting on factors and treatment methods for Tungiasis among residents of Musokoto Sub-Location in Kenya. And just to look into the background, we see that Tungiasis is a parasitic skin disease which is caused by a sand flea and lives in... Yes, I can hear you. So, as I said, Tungiasis is a parasitic skin disease and it lives in the soil. And those are the preferred habitats where it is dry and sandy soil.
We're here, Mr. Albert, we're here.
It usually buried itself.
We are able to hear you very much.
Body. Usually
you continue, you can
and
yeah, please continue. Your clock started already.
Communities such as
please continue, don't stop. Please.
And South America and Africa as well. In some populations, the prevalence could be as high as 50%, and it is not regarded as a threat to health in various areas across the globe. And when it buries itself into the body, you will find that the person will have local inflammation, outer amputation of the limbs, deformation and loss of the nails, formation and fissures, and ulcers, and etc. Secondary infections could include tetanus, which is caused by the Clostridium tetani, which often can be fatal. There are always cases of insomnia which have also been reported. So, what is the problem of this Tungiasis? Also about my research study. You find that Tungiasis is a neglected public health problem across the globe. And in the two studies which have been done in Cameroon and Nigeria, it indicates that it is one of the major public health problems that needs to be addressed. And it is also widely neglected by the scientific community. In my study, Nambale Health Division, which also encompasses Musokoto, we found that in the health facility, there were 4% of the total morbidities in 2012. So what is the problem? You find that majority of the children were also, and the elderly were also affected. Treatment in the community is also unknown, and most members of the community manage the disease differently. We don't really know. It is uncertain what they usually use to treat these cases. In Kenya also, there are no commercial markets that is targeting the disease. The products which is targeting the disease is not really in the commercial markets. Risk factors for infestation have only been addressed in single studies in Brazil. And nevertheless, sustainable interventions have never, intervention measures have never been assessed systematically in Kenya. And the control programs targeting the reduction of morbidity in Kenya is also very minimal. So my study tries to look into the prevalence, risk factors, treatment methods, and for Tungiasis in the Musokoto Sub-Location in Kenya. And it will look specifically into the prevalence, risk factors, and different methods that are used by the community in Musokoto. So why are we doing this study? We already talked about the considerable burden that has caused, and also it is a neglected parasitic skin disease within the scientific community. The risk factors for infestations need to be addressed in Kenya, and also sustainable programs controlling these disorder needs to be addressed also. There are no studies that has been done in Kenya regarding Tungiasis. It's very scanty. So this study will sort to bridge the knowledge gap about the Tunga penetrance. And in my methods and methodology, the study site is Musokoto Sub-Location. It will going to be a cross-sectional study, and we are going to use 667 households. So the sampling procedure was that purposive sampling method was used to select Musokoto Sub-Location based on the previous reports of Tungiasis prevalence from the health center. And this is because the most treated cases at Nambale Health Center originated from this sub-location. The 8 villages in the sub-location were used in the study, and 333 households were sampled using proportionate systematically random sampling at an interval of 2. And we're going to be using a questionnaire because this is a quantitative study. And data collection meetings were held with the community leaders, and selection and recruitment of a nurse and 8 community health workers, which was done to aid in collecting the study. You find that we did a pilot study, which was carried out in 2 of the villages in Pilare sub-location of the division, and 20 households were picked at random for piloting. Validity and reliability was accepted at a reliability coefficient of 0.70. When we are collecting the variables, you find that social demographic factors were also collected, housing and associated factors, that such as the construction type of the house, ownership and the presence of domesticated animals. Then we also did clinical presentation about the Tunga penetrance. Of course, we had knowledge, attitude, and practices related to Tungiasis, which was also collected, and what are the treatment methods that were being used by the residents to treat the scourge. When we are doing the clinical examination, there are areas which we are looking, and itchy, reddish, brownish spots with a diameter of 1 to 3 millimeters was checked. This one was to confirm if it is a positive case. Circular lesion presenting as a white patch with a diameter of 1 to 4 millimeter on a central black dot, and also a black crust surrounded by a necrotic tissue. Partially or totally removed fleas, leaving a characteristic of a sore in the skin. Localization on a number of lesions was also recorded, and in the statistical analysis, the data was entered into the EpiInfo software and also the SPSS version 17.0 for analysis. Then prevalence was determined as a percentage of invested individuals out of the total households population examined for Tungiasis. Sorry for this, but this is linear regression was used to establish the risk factors that affected the Gigas infestation, and also bivariate analysis was also carried out to calculate how different combined variables could affect the risk factors. So under the results, out of these 768 were males, and also females were 789. Majority of the participants were 15 years and below, which is 49.87%. On education, 1369 completed primary education, 65 did not complete, and only 10 had tertiary education, while 40 were illiterate. And most also, a third of the students were housewives, or a third were students, and housewives were 278, and others were farmers. On the prevalence, out of the 1,557 that participated in the study, a total of 441 say that at least they had Gigas at one point in their life, whereas 116 say they never had Gigas. Of the 441, you will find that 65% had Gigas on examination, and while 9% did not add Gigas which was found on them, while 143, which is 33%, refused to be examined. This is a bar graph showing the prevalence of Gigas in the area, and you will see that what I found was that those who said they had jiggers, which is 28.3%, and those ones who said they did not have jiggers was 71.7%. However, on those who said they had, in the total, we found that 65% had jiggers, while 33% did not have the jiggers. On the severity of the infection of the infestation, you'll find that Tungiasis emerged on the toes. On the extreme sides were more infested than on the other sides of the body, especially on the lower limbs. Severity also revealed that the first toes were less severely infested, and as opposed to the fourth and the fifth, in regardless to the site of infestation. The sole was also mostly affected. Common complication were the ulcers of the skin. So you can see that the sole in this table shows that there were cases which were mostly affected than even the arm and also the heel. On the side of the risk factors, the individual risk factors that were investigated in this study were on where one sleeps, what is put on feet while inside the room, and where time is spent by the participant. When the association, yes. Okay.
Mr. Albert, hello.
So the association.
You got another 3 more minutes to complete.
The station was computed within with linear regression, and you will see that.
Okay, continue, please.
Where one sleeps, and those ones with the traditional beds, where the higher frequency, and also what one puts on the feet while in the room, such as slippers, also add the influence. Under domesticated animals, you'll find that most of the people did not know about what was really the source of the jiggers. However, pigs was greatly associated with this. And you can see that from the previous individuals' risk factors, where one sleep was greatly associated with the presence of jiggers. House flow types, as I mentioned before, also is greatly associated, and also the street type shows that there is a lot of association when there is sandy and also dust. Where one person gets the water from is also greatly associated. You find that they have an odds ratio of above 2. And you can see from the table that the source of water is also very important in jiggers infestation. I already mentioned about the having domesticated animals, number of dogs, number of cats, number of pigs. The higher it increases, the more the chances that they are going to be having jiggers. Most of the participants say that they remove the jiggers using needles and also thorns, which are present in the community. They do not use any antiseptic. So in my final part, I did some recommendations, and these were more emphasis strategies needs to be put in control and management of Tungiasis in Musokoto because of the high prevalence in the area. Health education regarding Tungiasis to be provided to the community on its management, stigma, and control. School children to wear shoes while they go to school to avoid infestation. Regular domesticated animals. Spraying with insecticides will help reduce the fleas in the animals and reduce the egg larvae. It emerged that victims of Jiga infestations do not receive tetanus vaccination. It is hereby recommended that the government should consider vaccinating residents of Jiga endemic areas with tetanus vaccines. Thank you so much.